Knack seems much longer than it actually is. As you fight the same enemies again and again, you'll beg for Knack to excite you in some way, in any way, but it never does.
You think Knack can do it?
We'll see now, won't we?
You'll want the levels to open up, you'll want the action to get more involved, and you'll want the secrets to stop being so obvious. And yet the game remains the same. As a flagship title for a new console, Knack is surprisingly mediocre.
Just go slow, little buddy.
Created by a renowned inventor for the purpose of fending off invading goblins, Knack, the titular golden hero, is composed of hundreds of tiny relics. These relics float close to one another rather than form a singular mass, and when Knack gets hit, chunks of them fly off. When Knack dies, he impressively collapses into innumerable bits that scatter across the floor. Just as easily as they get knocked off of him, Knack can also absorb additional relics, causing him to grow in strength and durability. Throughout each of the game's 13 chapters, you'll play as Knack in a variety of sizes. As Little Knack, one hit is often enough to shatter you. To compensate, the game typically only has you fight 2 or 3 enemies while you're short and scrawny. After accumulating enough relics, Knack becomes a giant, and enemies that previously took several hits crumble after a single punch. But even giant Knack is surprisingly fragile, and each blow generally takes at least a third of your life. For a game that looks like a rejected Saturday morning cartoon, the game isn't very forgiving, and you die a lot.
Impressive. He seems a little delicate to me.
Get used to repeating sections constantly. If you get fed up with a particular situation, you can use a super move, which typically kills every enemy in the area and allows you to move forward hassle-free. It's convenient, but it practically feels like cheating. Instead of providing you with a helpful boost, super moves amount to little more than a skip button, and you'll hardly feel like you did anything at all. Other than super moves, Knack has very few ways to combat his vulnerability. His dodge, your main defensive tool, is sluggish. It never moves as quickly as you want it to, which is a huge problem when you need a quick reaction to save your life. Jumping is a more effective way to avoid getting wrecked, since enemies tend to favor horizontally oriented assaults.
We were wondering where I got them. Is that what you're after? Won't say.
When it comes to dealing damage, Knack is equally as limited. You can throw out a basic 3-punch combo, or perform an airstrike where Knack curls into a ball and hurls forward. The second option is safer, since enemies have a harder time finding their mark when you're airborne, but it's extremely weak. For the most part, you don't even have to bother, because the AI is so predictable. Baddies wielding swords, for instance, like to slash twice before pausing, so it isn't tough figuring out when you need to swing for their faces. Nothing seems to flow together, and every enemy pattern is similar and simple to solve, so the constant fights quickly become a drag.
Reminds me of the Doctor of long ago.
At least you can get through the game faster with a friend. Drop in, drop out co-op lets a buddy assume the role of Robo-Knack. He isn't contextualized in the story in any way, but he's useful nonetheless. Unlike his non-mechanical twin, Robo-Knack will simply reappear after a few seconds if he's knocked to bits. Having someone else around who can only positively affect your progress greatly reduces the amount of time you spend repeating the same areas, alleviating some of the tedium. Yet even the best of pals can't fix Knack's intrusive cutscenes, which highlight the most trivial of things.
It's the goblin tanks.
Why does anyone need to watch Knack jump off a ledge? Why can't you just jump off the ledge yourself?
Not to worry, Victor. I picked up a few relics in the process.
These scenes only last a few seconds, but they pull you out of the game for seemingly no reason at all. It makes the world appear so stitched together. You run from corridor to corridor, fight a few enemies, and then pointlessly watch Knack perform the most rudimentary of actions. You'd think the presence of numerous secrets, which include pieces of upgrades, health, or energy for super moves, would make the environments a little more exciting, but they only highlight how artificial the game feels. You just look for a portion of the wall that is cracked or otherwise suspect, and then punch to uncover whatever is hiding behind it, requiring almost no thought whatsoever. Hunting for secrets amounts to nothing more than another monotonous task.
Do you know that I found you in a cave just like this?
With the way it looks and how simple it is, it's easy to think that Knack is a game for kids. And while that may be the intent, it doesn't make Knack any less dull. Whether you're 5 or 25, Knack is boring throughout its 10-hour duration. If you're looking for something to introduce you to the PlayStation 4, there are far better options than Knack.
Sorry.